Monster Hunter Wilds is just around the corner, and I am so excited, but I need to get something off my chest. I've had a conspiracy theory cooking for about 3-ish years now, and now is the time to finally talk about it. Where are you going? Come back, please help. I am going to be breaking from the pack. Instead of a video talking about what monsters I want to see, I'm going to tell you what monsters I expect to see, and we'll just have to see if I'm right. So we'll first start off with the Rise backstory. There's a lot of creature design minutiae that I'll bar myself from getting too deep into, but there are a handful of Rise and Sunbreak monsters that have a bit more polish in regards to their design iteration. Things like updated anatomy, changes to their high-frequency detail. It's a lot of minor nuanced stuff that I notice because I'm a creature design freak. And a lot of this comes across as if they were made in-house by artists at Capcom, as opposed to the third-party studios that handle those spin-off titles. I'm not saying that the work that they do is bad, I'm saying that their work that they do was specifically designed for the Switch, and these monsters look down-resed by comparison. So, we'll get into it. If I remember correctly, there was an interview from Ichihara back in the day, prior to Iceborne's release, that basically said they had tried implementing Kezu, but because of neck clipping issues, he was cut. So that being the Iceborne design in Rise is not at all surprising to me. With Nerscylla base to Wilds, it's only a matter of time until we get Kezu, as Nerscylla's subspecies, Shrouded Nerscylla, preys upon Kezu instead of Gypsyros. Whether or not Kezu is based to Wilds is something we're just going to have to see. But if it's not in the base game, I fully expect it for the expansion. The second base Rise monster is Chameleos. Chameleos, I fully believe, is a cut Iceborne title update monster that was then put into Rise. It would make a lot of sense to me if that had been the case. All of the other DOS, like mid-elders, are there, Lunastra, Teostra, Kushala, but Chameleos was missing. Now, I believe originally Capcom had said that they had about a year's worth of content planned for Iceborne. It's just oh so unfortunate that that year happened to be 2020. In an effort to push out Elatrion and Fatalis as title updates, they shelved a couple, and so I think we were robbed a few title updates in Iceborne, which is fine. Those were extraordinary times. We're kind of still living in those, but we're not gonna touch on that. The third base Rise monster that I think has a really good shot being in Wilds is actually Mizu, because Mitsitsune in Rise has a lot of the same design updates that I would expect to see from first-party Capcom. And oh my god, there it is! There's a couple more monsters that were in Sunbreak that I also am highly suspect of. With all of them, their models are, once again, really high quality in terms of the actual design iteration that's happening with them, but the models also feel a little bit crusty because they're down-resed and not made for the Switch hardware. First, we're greeted to Velociprey, who is not on a traditional bird wyvern rig. This seems to be a new rig. It's not just the scaled down brute wyvern rig. The model is also really high quality. The textures are really good. And again, it's just got that little bit of down-res crust. Got jaggies. And then you have Espinus. Espinus is a masterclass in bringing back a monster. What they did for Espinus in terms of actual design for the model, real top shelf stuff. Definitely not what I would expect out of the Sunbreak team. It's not necessarily the most polished iteration of his design, but Seregios is a monster that needs a really high poly count, and so the Switch kind of struggles to do it justice. What I'm saying is, the Sunbreak model is so crusty, it's probably a Wilds monster, but it's also really, really hard to tell. For what it's worth, Arkveld is also on the exact same skeleton that Seregios is. It's that variant of Flying Wyvern, right down to the fact that Arkveld is also a Zygodactyl monster, just like Seregios. Time will tell, but I kind of expect Seregios. The last one that really struck out to me in Sunbreak was, of course, Gormagala. Like a really high-quality model, really high-quality textures, all that jazz. A lot of that iteration talk in the design. It would just be so crazy if, I don't know, we got a Monster Hunter 6 trailer with Gormag. Oh my god! In the back of my head for like the last 3 years, I've just been thinking to myself, that's probably not an asset they made for Rise or Sunbreak. That's probably a Monster Hunter 6 asset. And lo and behold, the voices in my head are starting to bear fruit. I must now talk about recent reveals. I've actually known about Gore being in Wilds now for about 3 months. As a Monster Hunter YouTuber, this information comes to me whether I like it or not. It was given to me against my will, but I made the active decision not to say that I knew about the data leaks from the first open beta test. Data miners are going to do what data miners are going to do, and monster rosters are ever so popular rumor mill content. I think you're watching one of those videos right now, but don't wise up. Don't click off. So now let's talk about the monsters that I am going to be speculating on being in Wilds because of the monsters that are already pretty much in, or soft confirmed to be in. Obviously, Shigaru Magala. It is the adult form of Gore Magala. If it's not in base Wilds, it's literally only a matter of time, whether it be as a title update or in the expansion that we know is going to come out in a year. There's Brachydios. This is questionable. Rise was happy to have Brachydios but no Gravios, so Wilds could just as easily do Gravios with no Brachydios. We'll just have to see. In the same vein as Brachydios, we've got Garuga. Garuga returned in Iceborne, sans Kutku, so it wouldn't be the most unheard of thing if Kutku returned sans Garuga. The Kutku design also takes a lot from the update that they gave to Garuga in Iceborne, so I think it would just be a waste of assets if they didn't put Garuga in. Just like Shigaru, Garuga could just as easily be a title update monster. We'll just have to see. Alright, these next few monsters are a little bit of a stretch, but bear with me here. There's a little monster, maybe you've heard of it, it's called Deviljho. There's no bias in regards to this video, especially in regards to this channel, but I think Deviljho has a really decent shot. Arkveld puts a focus on that explosive dragon element that used to be just Deviljho's thing, and this is another asset reuse thing where I don't think it's impossible for them to just use that for Deviljho. In a much more gameplay savvy way, Doshiguma actually has Deviljho lore as gameplay. When a Deviljho would enrage, all of its previous wounds split open. Now, with Wilds, wounding is a proper mechanic, and Doshiguma actually does that thing. It does the thing in lore, but in the gameplay now. Wow, we's like Soulsborne's up in here. Whoa, this is crazy. Wow. So we can definitely get a feel for what an updated Deviljho fight would be in Wilds. I don't know if Deviljho is going to be base to Wilds, a title update, or in an expansion. It's been on hiatus since Rise. In fact, Rise is the first game since Deviljho debuted that it has not been in a Monster Hunter. So suffice to say, I think it's a little bit popular. But again, this channel is definitely not biased towards that decision. Langonga is the snow ape. There is a snow biome based to Wilds. Konga is already in the game, so the ape rig is already there. Damn it, there he is! Oh, that's the third segment I've had to re-record because I'm too on the money with everything. Do you know how frustrating that is? New Gen Rajang, it's a really bad rap. People talk a lot about his jank. He's Rajang. I think in Wilds, he deserves a fair shot. That's all I'm really going to say. Without anything overly gimmicky, like in Iceborne and Rise, there's no Clutch Claw, there's no Wire Bug. The wound system is not that, so if Rajang returned in Wilds, I think it would be an excellent opportunity to show people that Rajang can be a good fight. This is Rajang's year. Maybe people will finally be receptive to some hot... No, I shan't say. The last monster that I soft anticipate is Tetsukabra. Chotacabra is another brand new amphibian. It would be weird if it was the only amphibian, and I don't think the Ice Shard Cliffs is a good fit for Zamtrios. But I do think any of the maps could be a good fit for Tetsukabra. It's finally time for Tetsukabra to be more than just Master Hojo's butt warmer. Who knows? Chotacabra is a new amphibian. Perhaps we'll get more. Maybe it'll be like Lalabarina and Nursilla. We'll just have to see. As we close out on this video, and I achieve Zen, I'm going to say that every generation is a little bit different. The first 2 gens were all about building the roster of monsters. Gen 3 was a lot like Gen 5 Pokemon in that it was a hard roster reset. There were only 3 large monsters that returned in Tri. Gen 4 was a lot about introducing new monster types, amphibians, temnocerans, all that jazz. It was a lot of early Gen 1 and Gen 2 nostalgia. All of the Freedom Unite guys were basically back, except Yamasukami. Fuck that guy. Gen 5, ironically, was all about Fanged Wyverns, because for the longest time, Zinogre was the only Fanged Wyvern. Generation 6, on the other hand, is looking like a relative haven for Leviathan monsters. We'll find out. It seems like it's gearing up to be Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate 2, so it might just be a lot more returning monsters with some TLC given to the skimpy monster types. And as a quick aside, originally, when I started getting serious about producing content for the channel, my criminal scheme was to get the channel up and running so that I could get my hands on a preview copy of Wilds. YouTube is not the most optimal thing for growth, and also Capcom is just, too smart. I would be unstoppable if they gave it to me early. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like, subscribe, click the bell, all the YouTuber stuff. Really, all I really care about is leave a comment. I really enjoy engaging with folks, whether it's helping people out or discussing things. Like, it's really the upside to making videos for me. See you all in Wilds, everybody.